Hello and welcome to Off Topic. Today, we are going to be talking about cryptids with me, the host, Cameron, and with Liam and Cosmo. Let's get spooky for Halloween season.
Yeah, pretty much.
Spooky.
I appreciate that we've
Spooky
been honoring
season,
I
the best
appreciate
season.
Yeah, I appreciate that we've been honoring spooky season. I'm assuming that I'm going to end up hosting next week. So I'm trying to come up with some
Mhm.
sort of topic that'll be spooky as well.
Spooky.
Oh, I will say though, might need to cut this out, but next week I might not be able to because it's family weekend.
Okay. So we might not end up doing anything next week then. Oh well. It'll be fine.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Who knows?
on the
That's
topic
to
of
figure out
spooky.
later. The topic is spooky. The topic is cryptids. Let's talk about
Cryptids,
some
huge part of my life ever since I was a kid. Then I found that one book on cryptids and just told me like common cryptids. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I like these. These are like myths, but more small and
Goblin.
unique. One of my favorites, I have to say, is the chupacabra. I hope I said that right. Sorry to anyone if I've said it wrong, but that's how I've said it like all my life.
Nope. No, you pronounced it properly for the first time ever. But no.
They, oh fuck off. They are one of my favorite cryptids. Like I've seen series draw them how people draw them. I don't like the more humanoid one. I like more of the reptilian dog versions. I'm just
It sounds
like,
like a kobold.
I want it as a pet. One of my characters, one of my original characters, my OCs that I've made for something, literally has a pet chupacabra named Maple.
Okay. What is the idea behind the chupa? It just seems like a creature, and that's it.
So
Chupacabra.
basically,
Yeah.
it's a monster that sucks the blood of goats, chickens, and other
Oh,
livestock.
okay.
In reality, it might actually just be a dog or coyote with mange that just looks like it sucks them, but more of it breaks their necks and accidentally bleeds them dry with its bite marks.
Mm.
And because they're crazy and sick, they don't really eat it.
Mhm.
They just murder it. But the chupacabra itself, the way I'm gonna be depicting is the less humanoid version. It's the dog-like reptilian that has like spikes along its back, bites, sucks the blood of the thing. Really cool, really awesome. I want one, and one of my favorite creators who does like a mix of D&D stuff and other things. There's a chupacabra, they're a character, and they're trying to get a plushie made of it to sell. And if it does, I'm gonna be buying that thing. I want chupa.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for it. Um Interesting. The reports of blood sucking by the chupacabra were never confirmed by a necropsy. The only way to conclude that the animal was drained of blood. So the chupacabra is very much a cryptid, very much one of those things that, like, as with most cryptids, like, probably doesn't exist, but is still
Yeah.
fun to think about, which I will get into later because I started doubting my beliefs about cryptids when I was looking at some of the stuff. Um,
Yeah, like some of the stuff is just like too coincidental to be not be true. But also, I did send you guys. Likenheart is the creator. If anyone wants to look him up, amazing creator. They're on both YouTube and TikTok. Oh my god, I'm that little chupacabra is so adorable. I want him. It's like a pity mixed with a crocodile, and add porcupine spikes to it, and the tendency to suck blood. It's adorable.
That is pretty cute.
There's a lot of cryptids though. Like, there's no way we're covering them all.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I discovered recently a board game all about cryptids where you play as a
Hmm.
cryptid, and the goal is to
Ooh.
the goal is to become a famous cryptid. That's like the entire goal of the game.
I think I've heard of that
Muffin.
actually. I think I've heard of that.
It's called Twisted Cryptids.
Ooh,
Um, Basically in the game, you have like a map, like a bunch of different forests, and then
on
you
Kickstarter.
like choose one to hide in or something, and then you can like
Oh, this is adorable.
what? Oh, the game.
Yeah.
So
Wait, you could play the Chupacabra.
the game
Oh,
loop is that you
Cameron's
have
in.
to the game loop is that you like have hiding places, and then and then there's like a bunch of tokens which represent humans, and you try to get this a certain combinations of humans, hikers, researchers, or hunters to give you more fame or something. It's called something else, but
I think I'm gonna get this game not only for myself but for like my game club at college. Because oh my goodness. Um,
anyway, it looked really goofy.
there's also a lot of books, but one of the good ones does a like what if they something evolved and split off and like it was in real life as a cryptid, and they do all kinds of stuff. It's so the study of cryptids, which is the actual thing, is called cryptozoology.
I would say, yeah,
It's not just studying
cryptozoology.
cryptids, but explaining how they might have evolved and actually exist. Like, what would it mean if they actually exist? It's some fascinating things. Like for kelpies instead of horses, they're more mammalian. Not mammalian. Sorry.
What's a
They're
kelpie?
more canine and rodent-like than
Oh,
horses.
kelpie.
Kelpie, which is the mythical seahorse that looks all wet and pretty sitting next to water, but when you jump on its back or touch it, you can't let go, you can't get off, and it drags you
Oh.
underwater, drowns you, then eats you.
Yeah.
Yeah, kelpies are cool, but also really fucked up.
Hmm.
But they're not even bad as like some of their other versions, which are like water horse spirits, which do something similar, except they're water, so you can't attack it back. Really, they just
Would you call a spirit
drag
a
you to
cryptid?
death. Yes, Cosmo, spirits can be cryptids. I
Oh.
know it's shocking for your
I
to
don't know.
read that, but
I usually cryptids are like just creatures. I don't know. I'm
no,
not.
there are a lot of things.
I would
I've been
say that
studying this topic since I was
I would
like
argue
7.
that it's the other way around, that cryptids can be spirits. Which may technically be the same thing, but I feel like from
Yeah, it
a
is.
grammatical point, it's it fits a little better. Like, I mean, like, because to
Are you
say
saying
that,
like some spirits can be cryptids, but not all cryptids can be spirits?
well, what I'm saying is that um I used to watch like a lot of like supernatural television shows,
Mhm.
and like they had cases where they were going to hunt like Bigfoot like creatures, um and the
Mhm.
conclusion they came to were that they were actually demons. Um
Mhm.
so like I would say that some cryptids can be spirits, but to say that some spirits are cryptids kind of muddies the water a little
Mhm.
bit, because I would say a majority of spirits are not cryptids.
There's a lot of overlap. Like some of you listeners might be thinking, Kelpies are a myth, or like the War Spirit Horse is a myth. So yes, but they're also cryptids technically. Cryptids have a more loose definition.
I was just say
Something
I'm
can
gonna
be a
look
cryptid but belong to something else.
cryptid
The
definition.
definition of cryptid is
Animal claim to exist but has never been proved to do so.
oh
Yeah.
neat.
And
You
also
should know
that
that.
may potentially exist. So Kelpies and the War Spirit Horses, yes. Although actually less the War Spirit Horses is more spirit-like, but cryptozoologists disagree on like spirits and stuff a lot. It's the whole thing.
Yeah, because this says cryptids are animals that cryptozoologists believes may exist somewhere in the wild, but whose present existence is disputed or unsubstantiated by science. I would argue that spirits and animals are two different things.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I was confused if spirits were considered cryptids. Because I thought
I
they
th-
were just.
I think that the
And
I
yet,
think I think that the problem comes
ghosts
from
are considered some people consider them cryptids, others aren't. Like, it's so confusing. Like,
I think that where a lot of that
they are
confusion comes
more in
from,
the supernatural.
yeah, I think that where a lot of that confusion comes from is that hazy line where you have cryptids on one side of the line, the line is
Mhm.
folklore in general, and then you have spirits on the other side of the
Yeah.
line. And they both are
Mhm.
overlap with that line, but I don't think they overlap with each other, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Yeah. So what I'm seeing, like, some people dispute it, but the majority of people seem to
Oh my
think,
god.
yeah, spirits and ghosts are more supernatural in origin. Same with demons, and yet the New Jersey Devil is
Do you know what's
a
also
freaking cryptid.
pretty supernatural? The fact that I always tend to see that it's 12:34.
Oh my gosh, it is
Bro,
12:34.
that's just your hyperfixation.
No, but
Oh
he's
god damn it,
saying
it's 12:30.
It
yeah,
is
it is
12:34.
12:34. Like he happened to just look at it and it's 12:34.
Fucking hell.
No,
But
I have the same thing
yeah,
with
for the
11:11. I always look at the clock when it's 11:11. And it's like how is that
for this
possible that that's the one time that I look at the clock
Mhm.
all day long?
Yeah, for the spirit thing, it's from what I can understand from looking online, like the water spirit horse would be more of supernatural folklore, while the kelpie would be more cryptozoology folklore. It's
Yeah.
a very fine line, and it's a pain in the ass.
I just thought of something. Deep sea
Dragons are
creature
technically cryptids.
with like dragons. I was gonna say like krakens, like underwater sea
Also
creatures.
technically cryptids. Like
Technically
it's
cryptids.
a very confusing line. Because some places have krakens as demons, others have them as monsters. Some just have them as giant fucking squids that are just unusually large.
I
I
think those
would
actually exist.
I would yeah, I was gonna
They
say,
do,
well,
the colossal squid.
that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story that I am gonna get whole nother point at least that I will get into probably towards the end of this episode. Um, but like I think that um we're kind of confusing the difference between cryptids and mythological creatures.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Like I wouldn't say
Like
that
there's
dragons
not
and
really a line
kraken
between those.
there's not a
So that's
distinct
the
line,
problem.
but like I would argue that dragons are, while they are mythological creatures, they're not necessarily cryptids.
Yeah, I don't because no one really believes dragons
There
exist.
are people that believe that dragons
And
exist.
Okay, but like
evolutionary, there's a potential that something similar did exist. And
I guess,
biologically, it's actually realistic that something could have existed back then,
but
but something could.
it doesn't give cryptid vibes.
Well, it's not something that cryptozoologists are studying, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
kind of where the
Some
entire
do.
like well the definition is cryptids are animals that cryptozoologists believe may exist somewhere in the wild, but whose present existence is disputed or
Or have
unsubstantiated by
existed.
silence.
Don't forget
Yeah,
to have existed.
yeah,
So, like,
but
What?
for
like
instance, some have done dragons because dragons potentially could have existed. There's a potential. Sure, they might not have been winged, or their wings might have been essentially useless, but there is potential for a creature that has hardened scales like a reptile, more reptilian form, and have something that can produce flammable material that ignites when hitting air. That is essentially realistic, actually, because there's some things that do produce similar fluids, but that don't ignite, but they are flammable. So there's the potential.
I don't know. When I think of cryptid, I think of a creature that like hides in the darkness is really hard to find. But when I think of dragons are super obvious. Like they will they
Well,
like attack
that's just
towns and
kind of
stuff.
a bias you have, Conwell. I
I don't
don't think
know.
of cryptids that way. I think of them as something that could have, did, or possibly might exist. Like
I think of them as
the
something that
what
there
if
is there
existed.
is some evidence pointing towards it, but not enough to prove anything.
Yeah, there's not enough to prove anything. There's no physical specimens or identifiable pieces left behind that we can confirm their existence, but there's enough evidence that we're suspicious. And like for dragons, that exists. There is a concerning amount of like everything relating to them. Like, why would there be so much of this mythical, fantastical creature back then? There has to be like a reason. Where did the idea of dragons come from? Why did people think this? Especially in places that don't really have many big reptiles or any big reptiles. Because big reptiles, those really are limited to Komodo dragons, crocodiles, and alligators. Those are like the biggest dragon-like reptiles, and they're not near Europe at all. So then why does Europe have so many myths about dragons and dragon slayers? In the Dark Ages when we don't have many records of stuff.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
the thing that I
It's
would
something to think.
argue, the thing I would argue is that there are a lot of quote unquote records of Bigfoot like creatures. Um,
Mhm.
and so it is possible, kind of the way I see it, is that dragons are an ancient cryptid. And I feel like that's kind of where that distinction is made, is that they have evolved from a cryptid to a mythological creature based on
Mhm.
that factor of time.
I like
Um,
the way of
Yeah,
thinking
that's
it.
what I'm saying. Like,
Myths are
it
just
could have
old
been a
cryptids.
yeah,
cryptid at one
that's
point, but the over time myths and legends get exaggerated. So what could have been just a creature that can create sparks or something, a reptilian decent-sized creature, eventually in time it became distorted to a giant fire-breathing monster. If we also consider like St. George, the Dragon Slayer's painting, sorry, why did I say photo? Painting. He's the dragon he's fighting is small. Like
yeah,
smaller than the horse. So that could have been like the original dragon, so to say.
yeah,
Over time it just got embellished. I mean, who doesn't want a person who died fighting a little lizard to be embellished into someone who died fighting a massive beast off? I wonder if they had Wolverine temper. Like tiny little reptilian spark shooting
I mean,
Wolverines.
now that I think of it, Loch Ness Monster is literally
Could easily
just
be
like
a
an existing
plesiosaur.
dinosaur, a
Yeah,
plesiosaur.
it's a
It's literally just a plesiosaur. They were really creative with
yeah,
mhm.
that.
That's why like there's a chance it could be that, but we don't know.
yeah. Something that I might as well say this now since it kind of ties into what we're talking about. Um, Something that I discovered while I was doing research was that a lot of cryptids are very similar to each other. Um,
There's overlap.
and it made me question what I believe cryptids are, because there are hundreds of instances of Bigfoot-like creatures that are different cryptids across the entire world. And it's
Yetis,
like,
yeah.
that's really suspicious. Like, if there are people, literally thousands of people, saying the same things, like, and
There's
believing these
gotta
same
be something.
things, like, there has to be. They might be exaggerating. It may not be as grand as it seems, but there has to be some aspect of truth to what they're saying.
There's always a
Or,
reason humans have feared the dark.
yeah, or it could be,
That's an old quote
is the
I've
term
heard, and like
confirmation
that makes
bias make sense here?
true confirmation bias.
There's
Confirmation bias does.
it's some kind of bias, where it's like you see instances of this happening, so you believe that it happens again. Like it could be that, but like I don't know. And there are a lot of like Loch Ness like cryptids. So while I was looking through it, I found kind of like three basic instances of cryptids. There's
Mm-hmm.
the large Bigfoot cryptid.
Nessie.
There's the Nessie
Oh, I was
cryptid
thinking about the.
or dinosaur or other dinosaur-like cryptids, and then there are large
We have one in
flying
New York.
cryptids. Um, and it's fascinating because it's like those three primary cryptids have thousands and thousands of cataloged sightings. Um, and it's like,
Humanoid, dinosaur, and flying.
yeah, and large flying creature. Um, and it's like they're explainable by actual nature, some of them, but like still, like I think that I think that no matter what, it's definitely blown out of proportion. Um,
It's definitely below proportion, but there might be like some
but
reasonable proportion.
there's some piece of truth to it. Like there could very easily be a large, say, large ape-like creature that we have not yet discovered. How it's avoided us thus far, I don't know, but people discover
Yeah.
large creatures every day, like strange things
Oh
every
yeah,
day.
no, there's so much we can't find, and I'm thinking
I've
water-based or more ocean-based cryptids might have more truth to them because we haven't explored most of our ocean. 70% of our world is unexplored, and it's that ocean.
I mean, for ocean, anything's possible, like, honestly. But, for, like, a Bigfoot kind of thing, unless there's, like, a specific ape creature that's specifically trying to avoid people for some reason, we
Mhm.
probably would have discovered it.
Yeah, that's kind of why that's why I'm still a little bit suspicious about that.
But
Is like
underwater, anything goes.
I say underwater anything goes. And the thing about flying creatures is it's very easy to see the silhouette of a flying creature and go,
Yeah,
"Oh,
Mhm.
that's I don't know what that is." So that's something new. So it's
yeah.
very easy to
Yeah,
see like an incredibly large bird or to misjudge the distance and
or a
misjudge
hang
exactly,
glider.
yeah, or to misjudge exactly how far it is and be like, "Oh,
Mhm.
that's a giant flying creature." Or like something that I had discovered was what was it? The Ahool is a um, bat like a very large bat-like creature with a 10-foot wingspan. Um, and but I believe it lives in South America, Java, Indonesia. Where's Indonesia? Am I slow? I am
It's
slow.
in Asia.
It is in Asia. Interesting. Because I was gonna say in South America, which is where I thought that this was from. No, it's from Indonesia. There are bats with 6-foot wingspans. The
Yeah.
giant fruit bats. And it's again
Also
very
known as
easy
flying
to.
foxes due
It's
to their
very easy.
size.
Yeah, the flying foxes. It's very easy to misjudge distance and misjudge how some large something is when it's flying around or when you just catch a single glimpse of it. But the
Mhm.
fact that that's in Indonesia and not in South America is a little bit more suspicious. Although it does say that they're from the rainforests of Java in Indonesia, so it is a possibility that there is like some undiscovered bat species there. That's what I
Yeah.
would um put that up to.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah. Hmm. now that we've gotten most of the technical stuff talked about, cryptid. Also like cryptids are in a lot of things, like even games. There's like cryptid like creatures, like Pokemon. Mew is practically a cryptid. Like we know, the viewers know it exists, but no one's brought back hard evidence in the Pokemon world of its existence.
That's kind of
If we
funny.
don't count Mewtwo. Because that's a whole nother situation.
Yeah.
You know, no, never mind. I'm not gonna make the false memories joke again.
No, we need to drive
My
this we need
brother.
to
I
drive
was
this
I
ship
was just
into the
about to say
iceberg.
I was just about to say maybe cryptids
There
are
is
the
a cat.
result of a bunch of false memories.
I mean, if we're defining false if we extend false memories to
Yeah, remembering something being bigger than it
yeah,
was.
remembering something falsely, then technically I would believe that a lot of cryptids are false memories.
Crazy.
Mm.
It all circles back to the same thing.
It
It's all
all
false
circles
memories all
back.
the way down. It's all false memories all the way down.
All the way
You're
down.
crazy.
Crazy.
I mean,
Um.
yeah, y'all don't see the cat.
No! Shut the hell up.
Cameron, it's too late. You already killed that bit.
You ruined it.
You ruined that bit last episode. You can't just bring it back up.
I will beat this dead horse. You cannot stop me.
No.
No, Cosmo,
Um,
I'm assuming you didn't see it, but did you see the description for the last episode that I post the last podcast episode that went up?
um, I saw it and then I forgot it.
The description. I'll
I'm
pull it
pulling
up.
it up.
I'm pulling it up now.
I could just read it. Join us this week at
Right.
Sidetracked and discuss everything from our favorite SCPs to cool SCPs and seriously creepy SCPs to wait, is that a cat?
Yes, indeed it is.
Fucking hell. We beat. We're beating a dead
Ooh,
horse here.
no, I was gonna say the myth that a black cat is bad luck is more of a myth than a cryptid.
Yeah, that's a
That's
myth,
a
not a
old wives' tale. That's not cryptid.
Yeah.
yeah.
But what if there was a cryptid that was just like a black cat, but it was like really, really unlucky?
There might be actually.
It sounds like an SCP.
Like a witch's pet.
Yes, witch's cat.
Trying to remember if a certain one is.
Um, cryptids. Well, I guess
Okay, yes, the Wampus cat is technically a cryptid.
Wampus cat.
It's an old, I believe, indigenous story about a
Oh,
witch who got
that has
cursed
6
into
legs.
like a. Yeah, she got cursed into a puma form with 6 legs. Or it's a story where a girl made a deal to help save someone and is stuck as that.
I
Basically,
was
it's the soul of a spited witch or young woman who's
You know
really
what?
angry at people.
That
So,
definitely influenced the creation of the Displacer Beast.
definitely. No,
What
definitely.
The Displacer Beast is definitely based off of that.
what is that?
It's the D&D
The Displacer
creature
Beast?
that's got six. It's
Oh,
like the black cat-like
oh yeah,
creature that's got
yeah,
six
yeah.
legs and the
The
two
one
tentacles off
that
the
you
back.
can't hit
Yeah,
because there's
Yeah, yeah,
distortions.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It
yeah. I
distorts
realized.
reality.
Also, I was looking at the pictures of the Wampus cat, and I was like, "That's just a cat," and I was like, "Wait a minute, that's the
No.
wrong number of legs."
Yeah, it's a puma with 6 legs, rumored to be a witch.
something I discovered that is cool
You
is
can
a
only
creature
kill them
known
by
as.
burning their hearts.
Speaking of Native American legend,
Hmm.
I discovered something called the
Okay.
Thunderbird. A
Oh, I
Thunderbird,
love the Thunderbird.
yeah. Uh, well-known Native American myths describe gigantic eagles capable of carrying animals as large as humpback whales back to their nests for food. And it's
I'm
like,
sorry.
Mhm.
Did
well,
you say
They're
Thunderbird?
yeah, Thunderbird,
big as or bigger than rock, which is basically a giant
That
eagle that eats elephants and carries
thun
them back easily to its nest.
in my cybersecurity class, I learned that Thunderbird is like a mailing software. Like
Yeah,
there's
probably based on
Firefox
the
and
massive.
Thunderbird.
Oh, that's really funny, actually.
Um,
They-
some stories have it with one cell wings, but others, which I do kind of like the others, do have it with multiple wings, like 4 wings, sometimes 6, depending on them. I think that's just really cool, just like something that big and unsettling, which is similar to the rock, which I believe is in Asia, I want to say. Asia or Africa.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson is a cryptid.
Yeah, The
It's
Rock.
ROC, not called like that. It's basically imagine a giant eagle. You know the Pokemon, the giant eagle Pokemon was that?
Which one of them?
It's literally based on the rock. I'm trying to.
Oh,
Uh,
um, I know which one you're
Braviary.
talking about. Yeah, Braviary,
Oh
yeah.
my god, that's huge.
Imagine that, but many times bigger, duller colors, and it can easily carry an elephant. That's basically the Asian. I can't remember. I need to look up. Is it Asian?
Yeah, that's a big bird. Oh my god.
Uh, Middle East and India, so Asia. Okay, yeah. So it's more Asia. It's basic. Imagine that though for the Thunderbird. It's a bit bigger, more wings, and can summon smiting lightning storms of God.
It's
I
not
mean, if you're
lightning
gonna call it
storms,
Thunderbird,
it's that the Thunderbird, the reason it's called that is that it's also been said that these massive birds' wings were so powerful that when flapped, thunder was created. So basically, uh the theory is that their wings are so large that every time they flap their wings, they're causing thunder. So it's not causing
yeah,
lightning storms, but it's causing thunder.
Mhm.
right, that makes sense.
Yeah. Although some stories do have it with lightning, I will say that. And they're seen often as a nature spirit,
Zapdos.
which makes sense considering they're a massive bird that can nuke you. They're terrifying.
Wait, that's
Um,
Zapdos, right? That's the
Yeah,
Pokemon.
yeah.
oh god, that. Um, hmm.
This was the other one that I wanted to
Yeah.
bring up from this list that I found. The Mongolian deathworm is an
Oh,
outrageously
nice.
Oh, I love.
large, yeah, outrageously large intestine-dwelling worm believed to exist in the Gobi Desert.
Mm.
In 1922, the Mongolian Prime Minister, however you pronounce his name, described this lesser-known cryptid as being shaped like a sausage that's about 2 feet long. He claimed the beast had no head nor legs and was so poisonous that merely touching it would mean instant death. A book titled The
Wait,
New
there's
Conquest of Central Asia claims that the worm lives in the most arid and sandy regions of the western Gobi. According to legend, the worms would eat camels and lay their eggs inside of the animal's intestines. They spend most of the time underground, except for June and July when they become extremely active.
is this a cryptid or is this an actual
So
thing?
It's a
it's a
cryptid.
cryptid. So the thing is,
'Cause it sounds like it could
It sounds
exist.
some
very
stories have
believable.
them that size, Liam. A lot of them have a much bigger, like you know the purple worm in D&D, how that thing's big as some dragons.
Yeah,
That's how big stories have it, and also like
Okay, that's
it's in
not
a
so
lot of
realistic.
media. If you know Beetlejuice, they have a death
yeah,
worm.
yeah.
It
No,
looks
I know what you're
different than a
talking about.
normal
Yeah,
death worm. The death worm, its mouth has a second mouth that shoots out, but for the Mongolian death worm, it's typically more like alien than like the Beetlejuice one.
yeah.
And it spits flesh melting and bone melting acid. The thing is terrifying. It and it's smart. Like it's a smart predator. It's scary.
Worm.
Cosmo,
But
Dusana.
to
personally, I
uh, shoot down what you had said. The largest recorded earthworm was a specimen of species Microchaetus rapi found in South America, which measured 22 feet long.
Damn, how
So,
thick?
what did it say? Mr. Earthworm. Almost an inch in diameter.
Oh my god. Oh, actually, that's not too big. Actually,
No.
I mean it's huge,
No,
but
they're
like,
not super chunky. It's an earthworm that's just super long, but there is like
okay.
species of earthworms that are absurdly long.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, no, there are some, and like the giant beach worms in Australia, those are too.
Oh,
But
those
steering
things are
back to
horrifying.
like the indigenous stuff for Thunderbird, another one that I've kind of split into two categories now: modern and indigenous, is the Wendigo.
Ooh,
Oh
Wendigo.
yeah.
So indigenous Wendigo is more human-like, freaky, invincible, and absolutely terrifying. Like if that thing finds you, you are dead. The modern one is more, I guess, like animal-like, pack-based, and frankly terrifying, but not as scary as the human-like indigenous one, because that one is fucked up. The other one is just like a messed up deer.
Trying
Like
to think of what
I
one
actually
to
found a
name.
picture that displays it pretty well. The verses, what they look like. Actually, I'll send that to you guys. But I feel like this sums up pretty well like the differences. The indigenous one is like Gollum if he was buff and a ghoul. The other one's a really messed up deer.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Wendigo.
so the Wendigo, it looks like I knew about the Wendigo, but it seems
Mm-hmm.
like there are multiple different depictions of it.
Yeah, those are
Yeah,
very different
how people
depictions.
depict it as deer nowadays, the more modern one, but traditionally it is more human
I see.
because they're a person who became a cannibal and a dark spirit corrupted them, and yeah, now they're like that. And also, I'm sorry if I get anything wrong. My studies are not as deep as they should be, but it's based
That's
on what I
cool.
can find and remember. So I'm sorry if I get any myths or stuff wrong. You'd be sorry. I don't want to, but the internet can be confusing at times.
Old Wendigo looks like Voldemort.
I wasn't gonna say it, but you're not wrong. His nose is really flat. He's like if Gollum and Voldemort had a forbidden love child.
Oh God, no, no!
Oh God, why?
Why did you have to say that?
And you combine it
Why
with
did you have to say that?
SCP-096. 096, Voldemort and Gollum had a forbidden love child, and it's
Yeah,
Oh
the
that.
three of them at
God,
the three guys. Yeah.
I'm not wrong, it looks like a combination of the three of them.
that's the problem.
That makes me wonder, was SCP-096 based on that version of the Wendigo, actually?
Actually, you know what? That's interesting.
Although there is a Wendigo SCP, so.
Yeah, but that's more the deer-like Wendigo
A deer.
than the humanoid
Yeah.
depiction.
Yeah, a lot of people say there's no, like, true backstory or, like, what it is, but the descriptions, a lot of people agree, are similar to a traditional Wendigo.
Hmm.
And, like, that picture also really sums up really well. Yeah,
Speaking
the
of
Wendigo
people
is
who
one of
have
the more.
been cursed, would you consider vampires cryptids?
Um,
I personally
honestly,
wouldn't.
Not
But
really.
I
they're
it's like
too.
it's on the iffy borderline if you
I
can
I
or
don't.
cannot.
I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't think they are. But Halloween,
I
you
would more
know?
consider like not like the traditional vampire, like I will fuck your blood, I will suck your blood kind of guy, but more of maybe like something similar, like a species more made for blood consumption, similar to like vampire bats in a way.
Like a monster that just happens to eat blood.
Yeah, like things have
I'm
that
sure
as a
there's
sort of
plenty
thing
of
to
cryptids like
control.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Like
I wouldn't
it
say
wouldn't be
vampires specifically are cryptids
No, I don't think
yeah,
so.
like
in the
I
traditional
think
sense.
not the traditional ones, no, but like maybe something similar. Like it could be like dragons. Something got exaggerated.
Yeah.
But also like now I can't stop thinking of like because there's always a theory of undead can in fact be real because we know there's stuff that does that, like mushroom, like the cordyceps mushroom. So I just can't help but think, what if vampires are just like a more bloodthirsty version of the cordyceps mushroom, maybe based on like the vampire tree, because that's an actual thing that exists and it's fucking terrifying. So vampire trees, they just like absorb the nutrients of other trees.
Hmm. Oh.
It's interesting.
Hmm. Now that I think of it, there's this interesting video game, very interesting concept. It's I forgot what it's called. It was like the something hotline, like the house. It was like basically the entire story. It's like horror game, right? And the
Yeah.
entire concept of the horror game is that you're like a person working for like a
Home
hotline,
safety hotline?
home safety hotline. That's it. It's so like I spoilers if you want to play it or watch it, but
Oh god, it's analog horror.
yeah, basically you the game goes that you start your day and then people call and you have to try to identify what their problem is. And you know, it starts out you with like black mold, house fire, mice, moles, like creatures like that. But as you go on, you start seeing like you unlock more things that problems that you can find, and then you get hobs, which are like little creatures that like they're like goblins that hide in your house and like eat dirt basically.
Mm.
And then it goes to like
Did you
trolls,
say knobs?
hobs, Hobbs.
Oh, hob.
And then yeah, it's very cryptidy feel, like more like druid, fae kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting.
So that's actually a thing. So hobs are a small mythological household spirit, mostly
Yeah.
English and Scottish. They're fae similar to brownies.
Yes.
And you do not mess with them. If I remember correctly, if you anger them, they kind of get evilized and
In the
fuck up, destroy your house.
in the game, basically Hobbs can like become these really these like you like metamorphose into these big creatures. Like I think they're boggarts or something.
Yeah,
Yep,
that sounds about right.
hobs do become boggarts. That's the thing I was talking about. If you know
It just has a cryptid
oh no,
feel.
there's a book that touches on this really well. Um,
You for gore.
it's a lot of people read this series. It's like one of the main series you read as a kid. What's it's like about some kind of sanctuary thing. What is it called? Fablehaven. God, the first
Fablehaven?
book of Fablehaven touches on it.
Anyway, like the little like the in-home cryptid is kind of like a funny.
Yeah, there's a lot like that. Now, was it Fablehaven that touched on Hobbes, or was it the Spiderwick Chronicles?
Did you know what's also a kind of weird thing I found in at the dorm? There's this weird
It was
cat
Spyro
that I
Chronicles.
saw.
A cat?
Fucking
Yeah,
hell.
a cat.
Damn, you were the one who
Um,
brought it back up. What do you mean, fucking
Yeah, I
hell?
know.
I
We were ready to let that bit die. You brought it back up. This is your fault. I blame you.
Anyway,
so the Spyro Chronicles, not Fablehaven, touches on Hobbs and Boggarts, and yes. So in that one though, it's brownies that turn into Boggarts, not Hobbs. Hobbs are more like hobgoblins.
what's the difference between a goblin and a hobgoblin?
Um, I think it's just like their similar appearance. That's it.
They might be from two different mythologies, actually.
They're in like adjacent mythologies, I think. They're kind of like that little fey trickster, both of them.
Okay, a goblin is portrayed in folklore as a grotesque, evil, and malicious creature. A hobgoblin tends to traffic more mischief than malice.
Mm-hmm. Also, hobgoblins are in some cultures considered to be basically the equivalent of the tooth fairy. Fairy is that they don't leave money; they just take your teeth, your discarded teeth.
Yoink. Your teeth are gone now.
Your teeth are mine now.
Yeah, like instead of you
Oh
getting
my
money,
god, I had a
because they don't
really
have teeth of their own.
I had a really interesting idea for a D. This might be a little off topic, but I had a really interesting idea for a D&D campaign, like a boss rush kind of thing, but the bosses are
Mm.
all like Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy or the Easter Bunny.
Oh no.
People have done that before, and Santa Claus is a really freaking terrifying thing in D&D with how some people have made him. Imagine a barbarian, but make him magical,
Yeah.
and that he has levels. He has stages in his boss fight.
Anyway.
Radical Tavern does this very well. Yeah.
Have we mentioned the Jersey Devil yet?
I
Jersey
mentioned it
Devil, does he
earlier, but
steal
we
your
didn't talk about
jerseys?
him.
I think you did. I thought you did.
I mentioned him, we never talked about
Ooh, that's creepy.
According to legend, the creature was the 13th son of one of the state's earliest settlers, Mother Leeds, who offered her son to the devil upon his birth in 1735 because she and her husband couldn't afford to raise another child. Ever since then,
Damn.
hundreds of sightings of a grotesque two-legged hoofed monster with a sheep-like head and large scaly wings have been reported in the Pine Barrens, including one famous incident in the winter of 1909 when a long trail of hoof prints crossing under fences and over walls and rooftops mysteriously appeared in the snow once night.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, that's the lore behind it. That's
Nice.
all I have pulled up on the Jersey Devil right now, though.
Is
I
it
can
is
get.
it in Jersey?
Yeah, I believe so.
It better be.
Yeah, South Jersey, the Pine Barrens. I knew the Pine Barrens,
Hmm.
but the Leeds Devil, or the Devil of Leeds.
Leeds.
Yes, Leeds, named after Mother Leeds, Deborah Leeds.
Oh, okay.
Mothman.
I actually don't know much about Mothman.
I mean, they're a moth and they're a man.
Omen of death. Basically, looking at you as like bad luck, death, all that stuff. He's a giant moth,
He's a
like a
giant
really,
moth. He
really
was
big
behind like
moth
some bridge
person.
collapsing or something.
Yeah, bad luck and omen of death. People think the origin was from sandhill cranes or herons that were out of migration flying overhead. But he's been described as winged, red-eyed, terrifying. Both he's a favorite cryptid of many people. But personally, besides there's two cryptids that are my top fave: chupacabras and a hool. So it's
Yeah.
from Indonesia.
Yeah, we
It's
already talked about the
enormous
Yahoo.
carnivorous bats. We did.
Yeah, we did.
I must have
Gesundheit?
zoned out because I didn't talk
I
at all
talk.
because this is my one of my favorites. Bigger Than Person is probably based off of the giant flying fox. I think I realized when you were talking about it, I just didn't hear you say a hool.
How do you
Yeah.
spell a hole?
A
AHOOL.
H. These guys are amazing. Like gigantic monkey bat thing that can just easily pick up a person and just nom nom nom. It's a vibe.
I think I've seen these
It's
in
extremely territorial and opportunist. It might be related to other cryptids, people theorize. Let's see what ones these are. Hong Moto, which is pterosaur like cryptids, nah. But other people are thinking Orang Bati, which is what the heck? It's a flying cryptid. It's a primate cryptid that looks like a flying squirrel. That is terrifying.
I swear I've seen the Ahul in The Wizard of Oz, perhaps.
I know, right? I knew you were gonna say that when you started saying it and then got cut off.
Yeah, and then I actually just forgot what the name of the movie was. Don't know how.
We literally did the musical in high school.
Exactly. I don't know how I forgot.
The monkeys have feathery wings. They're more based off what is a
Do they?
yokai? Yeah,
I would know. I haven't seen The Wizard of Oz despite playing the pit
Tengu.
orchestra
They're
for
based more on Tengus, a yokai from Japan,
Japan.
which makes. Oh, that's why I said that. My brain is dying today. But they're
Your brain
feathered,
is dying all of the
and
time, Cameron.
shut up, because we usually do this at times when my brain is exhausted from the week.
In the morning.
But the winged monkeys from Wizard of Oz are based on the Tengu, which I just sent a picture of. They're like
Funny.
warriors, warrior yokai. They're really cool.
Mm. Yeah, that is cool actually.
Like a god or spirit, they're considered. And oh my gosh. I mean, they're very human, monkey, and avian characteristics. Red skin, flying, shapeshift, controlling, wind, both skilled swordsmen and martial artists. Like, there's a few types. Long nose, which is the one I sent. The crow one, and a weak tengu. I don't know that one actually. Kanahoa tengu. Oh, they look a lot more bird-like. Also like human. So, and the crow one looks like a kenku but with wings.
Whoop. This has
Interesting.
been approximately un hora.
It has. Something that I forgot I was gonna bring up. Um, I found this right before we started recording, or maybe it was as we started recording. I don't remember if I had mentioned. I know I mentioned this to you guys, but I don't remember if we were recording yet or not. I don't think we were. Um, I found an article that is cryptids that turned out to be real creatures, and at the top of the list was the Komodo dragon. Because I saw a
Oh?
thing that was like the Komodo dragon used to be a cryptid.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, because people didn't believe that such a large man-eating lizard would exist. Um,
Can it eat a person?
it can eat a person. Yes, the Komodo dragons are massive.
Oh
Um,
yeah, no, yeah.
It was long considered a cryptid with
And
tales of a
venomous.
giant man-eating lizard circulating among the local population. Um, the first documented sighting of the Komodo dragon by a Westerner occurred in 1910, but it was not until the 1920s that its existence was confirmed by scientists. Other such things are the giant otter was once considered a cryptid, and was long considered a mythological creature as well. The mountain gorilla was considered a myth,
Hmm?
um, because it's so endangered and they're so like rare,
Hmm.
which is a little bit more proof that Bigfoot might actually exist. It took
Hmm.
them. The first scientific description of the mountain gorilla was published in 1902, but it wasn't until the 1960s that the population was fully documented. So, like, it took them a while to get around to it, and that was like actually once stuff official started happening. It took it 60 years once official stuff started happening for that's just for the population to be documented. Never mind. Um,
How long has Bigfoot been around?
that's a good question.
I'll look it up while you do this.
Yeah. The colossal squid, which
Kraken.
yeah,
There's
They got
colossal,
video.
giant, and normal squid.
We
Colossal
got video of
squids,
it.
we
It
never
looks
got a
really
whole
cool.
specimen, only tiny bits and pieces. But from our estimates, they're over 50 feet big.
They actually
yeah,
oh yeah. They got video of like the smaller species of giant
yeah,
squid.
the giant squid. Yeah.
It's really cool. You should
Hmm.
watch it.
Yeah, the reason as a kid, I was hyper fixated on colossus squids because of wild kratts.
Interesting. The Black
Giant right
Panther was
whale.
only confirmed to exist in 2018.
Ooh.
Just
Wait,
because,
what?
yeah, it was not
What?
until 2018 that the Black Panther was
But
confirmed to exist.
you're telling me they made the Black Panther like a superhero and they put a Black Panther in the Jungle Book before they discover them.
There were sightings of them and like general cryptid stuff, cryptic. I guess cryptic stuff would be a better term for it, but it is cryptid stuff. Um, but the existence of black panthers was confirmed in 2018 when a photo of a wild black leopard was captured in Kenya.
Oh, okay.
So it was kind of like even before that they kind of knew, but it
Oh,
was
okay.
they only got a picture of it and had like hard evidence on it
They
in
on- they on- they
2018.
only got a picture of it. Okay.
Yeah, and hard evidence.
Um, Bigfoot legend. Oh wait, I don't trust AI assistant.
I was to say don't trust the AI stuff.
Um,
It's helpful if you're
no,
trying to get a general idea, but other than that,
the
it's
the history. Bigfoot legend began small news items in 1958.
that wasn't even that long ago. That was like what 70 years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, yeah.
That's not even that long ago.
All right, there we go. There you have it.
So it is possible. I'm believing more and more by the minute.
But when they discover it, they're just gonna call it like Forest Gorilla number 2 or something.
The eye gorilla. It's like the iPhone, but it's the eye gorilla.
The Gorilla 2.
No, because what was it? Um, I saw a joke that Pirate Software was making, and it wasn't even a joke. It was like a legitimate thing, where it was what was it? It was what's it called? I'm not gonna be able to remember what it's called.
No, oh, no brain work for you.
Never mind. It was so funny. But they called something it was a mixture of something and cheese. I don't remember what it was. It was like it's like one of those weird delicacy things. It was something and cheese.
The eye
Guess what?
cheese.
Yes, no, guess what they called it?
What?
The Eye Snack 2.0.
The eye snack.
Eye Snack 2.0.
2.0. There was one before.
No, there wasn't one before it, but they put it up to like the the community of people like online to let them name it, and that's what ended up winning.
I'm gonna. The eye snack is crazy.
Vegemite, that's what it was. Vegemite and cheese. They changed the name, fortunately, but
It was Vegemite.
yeah, it was Vegemite and cheese.
That is great.
So it was named Eye Snack 2.0, and then they changed it to Cheesy Bite,
That's pretty bad too.
and then somebody else bought it out, and guess what they named it?
Oh god.
Vegemite and cheese.
That's so creative, man.
I know. This thing has had the worst naming history of all time. It's great.
Never had Vegemite.
I have
should
not
try.
either.
It's like really, really strong flavor, right?
I think so.
Well, now that
Yeah.
we've talked about Vegemite and cheese.
Now that we've talked about the Eye Snack 2.0, my favorite snack of all time. It's such a cheesy name.
Shut the. Alright.
All right, are we gonna wrap up here?
Yeah.
Cam, you get to pick somebody to
Okay.
do next week and do the outro if we end up doing next week.
Liam, you're a sacrifice.
I'm the sacrifice. Hell yeah. All right, I get to do the outro.
Yay, I'm a sacrifice.
Let's
Fucking-
make a
I'm in
sacrifice.
danger.
King Julian.
Oh God.
God.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching or listening to, rather. I'm used to saying watching because I'm used to doing outros to my videos. Whoa. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. We talked about cryptids. We talked about goofy shit. We talked about the eye snack. Go get you some eye snack. When you're done with this, go look it up. Go get you some eye snack. This has been
Drink
your.
water.
It was hosted by Cameron. With your favorite contestants, me, Liam, and Cosmo, because contestants is the only word I can think of to use. If you want to get more podcast stuff or more of my content, since this is going to be on my channel, subscribe, or if you're listening from Spotify, add it, like it, whatever, heart it, whatever it is you have to do. I don't know. I don't use Spotify enough to know anything. Anything at all, that is. Um, and thank you so much for listening. We will be back next week with the working theory right now is that we'll be back next week. And the working theory is we'll be talking about something a little more morbid, possibly death.
Gasp.